Hello there, and welcome to this session doing some tactics on chesstempo.com. Um, mm, so yeah, I see it. The problem goes boom, 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 boom. Yes, yeah, just like that. When I move, you move, just like that. So the point being just the deflection, and if you do this first, um, the knight can take on g7, after which you're not winning anything. Uh, Bishop f7 threatens mates. Bishop f7, king takes. Queen check, and he has knight g8. But if I play bishop g7, if I play bishop g7, king takes g7, queen h7 mates. That is the nuance. So bishop g7, king g7, queen check is mates. Bishop g7, bishop f8. No, bishop g7 is definitely. And I'm threatening queen h7 mates, and I'm also threatening queen h8 mate. And I don't see actually a defense to either of those moves, and he doesn't have a check. So there we go. Oh, all right. A couple more. Queen check, king h1, queen rook c1. I'm not seeing that. Uh, there's got to be some way to get another piece involved. without without another piece, nothing works. Oh well, or I could just say that I've had enough and take on e5. I wasn't seeing that the pawn and that the bishop on e5 was hanging. So yeah, what you say is um, you don't have any real threats, and I am satiated on the bishop. Similar story, right? You need to stop the bishop from the rook from taking on g2. You need to stop the rook from taking. Yes. So this is the key. Because if the king goes anywhere, then the rook can take on g2. Pawn takes on d5 is not with check, so after the pawn takes on d5, the rook can play anything like rook d2, hitting the rook, hitting the bishop, hitting the pawn. So your choices are king h3 or king h1. If king h1, then he can go back to a2 and take on a8. But if you play knight king h3, rook h2, pawn check, pawn check, king f3. If you play king h3, he plays h5. After which rook h2 mate is unstoppable. If a8 queens, then rook h2 mate. Wow, that's a big brain. So their only move is king g1, after which a8 queens, and you're up the exchange. Oh, I almost played into that. I almost played that. That is some big brain right there. Okay, if you take rook takes, rook a6, h5, pawn takes check, pawn takes check, king takes pawn just to sort of get out of the way. Also to stop h4, blah, 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 blah. I could also play rook h1, pawn takes, rook takes h4. King f7, rook check. My king's really far away. I gotta figure this out. This is an endgame. I'm supposed to be good at endgames. Supposed to be. One, two, three, four. Four or four. One or the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably gonna be here. Rook takes, king takes h7. Rook a6 is my first disposition. Rook h6, and he actually has to go back to h6. The king has to go back to h6 to push h5. So after king h6, rook c4, king c4, h5, pawn takes h5, check. King takes h5, king d5. And now I'm in the square of the pawn. g6, king e6, and yes, I'm in the square of the pawn, and the king will have to waste a move, and that wasted move is going to be rook a. The king will have to waste a move to escort the pawn, and that escorted pawn, that pawn move is going to be, okay, it's complicated. He can't play this directly because otherwise a5, and then I can just sack for the pawn, and then I'll have a queen. So he has to play king h6, king c4, pawn, check, forced, boom, boom. And now you'll notice right here I'm in the square of the pawn. Check my YouTube for more of that information. Here, and here I'm actually beating the pawn with just my king. So before he even plays this, he has to play the sort of escorting move, after which rook h7, pawn, and then rook a8 secures everything. There's actually a better way to finish that there, but I don't think I need to go into that anymore. I've got enough. White to move. I want to play bishop g4. It just looks movie. It looks like the move. Bishop g4. Where's the queen going to go? Bishop g4 and the queen... oh, wait. That's what it is. So it's h4. h4 trapping the queen. Because if bishop h4, then I give up the f4 square. But if I keep the bishop there, I maintain the bishop's control of the f4 square. All the other squares are controlled. The knight controls h6. So simply h4 wins the queen. Yeah. And the rest is not too easy, not too difficult to bag up. There's obviously the immediate hanging pawn, but there are ideas of somehow forking the two pieces here. I'd probably go for the immediate pawn win in a game. Yeah. Let's call it there. I think that was a sort of like nice, quick, gritty session. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for joining me on my chess journey. And I hope that this video was able to help you a little bit with your own. Until the next time, take care of yourselves. Ta-ta for now.